Troy was one of the most interesting individuals we met on the trip. Very high energy and quirky, and just overall fun to listen to his story.
One thing he talked about was being teachable, being willing to always learn, how important that is to any field, but especially a creative field. The entire career journey is a process.
And the greatest quote I think that he said was, always ask the question, why do I do it this way? Never take anything for granted that there's just one way to do it. Always look for a different way, a better way. That's certainly how I want to approach my future and my career as a designer.
I liked when she said that readers are writers, and the more that you read, the more stories you'll have.
She said how you look at the world matters. Train your brain to see beyond just the face value of things. Inspiration comes from everywhere because you never know what will spark that fire of inspiration.
Another thing that really stood out to me with Kristen Tubb was how she researches her material. So every time that she writes a book, some of these books she will research for 4 years, but she is so compassionate about getting the authentic story out, down to using the right terminology, the right words, the right emotions. And I think that really translates into our landscapes, especially when we're doing a city design or a park. You really want to do that research and find out what the heart, what the soul, what the vibe of the city is.
He played a song for us, one of his first #1 hit songs that didn't have a chorus. It didn't follow the typical pattern of a song. It was all verses. I thought that was a pretty interesting take, is that sometimes we set ourselves up with such parameters that we feel like we have to have every component that's listed or that's usually or typical to the whatever project you may be doing. But sometimes you can do better with less, or taking certain components out and putting more emphasis on the parts you want to. It felt like more of a story to me than a typical song. For him, he writes a song like he's having a conversation with somebody, like he's sitting down with a person for the first time and he's telling them a story. It seemed like a pretty common thread throughout all of the creative stops was that creative individuals, they all just want to tell their story, or tell a story.
The first thing that Daniel showed us was a video walkthrough of a church that he had renovated and transformed into a home. Really interesting to see how a chef was also partly an architect. When we finally got up to talk about food, we asked where does it start? Where does the creative process start for you as a chef? He told us that it's all about the ingredients. He looked down at the table in front of us and said, what are the ingredients of this table? And kind of broke it down into wood, metal. What are the ingredients of this building? What are the ingredients of this dish? If you're going to be a great chef, then you have to be a great shopper.
He said you must always be committed to performing your best day in and day out. No matter how small the job is or the task is, you must put 100% of your efforts in. That job represents you as a person.
Daniel said that it was always best to limit the amount of ingredients and have those simple yet beautiful flavors. You need constraints. You need something to respond to.
I really enjoyed the environment of their architecture office and the people. I mean, it's not too often you see a place where you can tell that upper management really encourages the younger individuals in the workforce to express themselves creatively. One One of the employees stated that it's good to get all the bad ideas out. That's something I've definitely struggled with myself, because when I go to put pen to paper, I don't want whatever comes out on that paper to be bad. They really hit home in the fact that sometimes you just have to get all that bad stuff out, and most times your first idea is also your worst idea, and you have to push past those things and get them out on paper.
It's really important to work with people that are excited about what they're doing. Those people are going to push your creativity.
Always save your inspiration. Take photos and do quick sketches. Having a creative outlet outside of work will keep you creative at work. Do something that other than what's prescribed to you.
What is a landscape architect? Well, we are designers of the human experience. We have to see the big picture. They took us through their riverfront park that they worked on. That was a cool experience, to be able to walk through a space with a landscape architect and find out why they did what they did. A lot of it goes back to research. They did a lot of research into not only materials, but culture and history of the area and what it is, and the symbolism through a lot of their materials and design concepts throughout was pretty remarkable. Everything was done with purpose. There was really nothing in that park that was just thrown in there.
Emily likes to begin each of her days with writing. She said that sometimes you don't write because you have something to say, you write because you need to figure out what to say.
Try to capture everything, and don't forget to share your work.
Find someone who will tell you the truth when you can't see it. Listen to your intuition, and don't forget what your passions are, because they'll come back to haunt you.
Somebody once told her that the secret to making better art is to become a better human being.
Creativity is not something you turn off. It's a way of life and self-awareness.
I love craftsmanship. Each new piece of her work is for a different person who has, different tastes or different wants.
I think what took me back most with her was her incredible attention to every little detail, from the buttons, the zippers, down to how the leather was sewn. Everything had to be absolutely perfect.
As the last stop on the trip, it really brought back that common thread that I saw in every stop we made on the trip. No matter what type of creative individual you are, you're basically trying to tell a story with your creative work.
And her, like many of the people we spoke to, were entrepreneurs. She runs her own company, has her own business. Was really inspirational in saying, if you have a dream, if you have the desire to do something, go for it. To have someone turn around and say to you, I did it, it wasn't easy, but I did it, and I made it, and I'm still making it, and you can too, was really encouraging. Every experience isn't lost just because you change or take a different course. You take those experiences with you